Hey everybody! If you had as good of a Christmas as I did, you probably had two things in mind. First, the pretty colors from those RGB lights, and second, wanting to burn everything. And that's good, because today we'll be making some real RGB fire. As always, this is dangerous. You should not repeat what you're saying in this video because it's not a guide, it's just a manifest of stupidity. Today we'll start from magnets. Exactly. As the first step of this project, we want to make some red fire. And for this, we need strontium.
Strontium.
Strontium. As weird as it might sound, the most accessible source of strontium in everyday life is magnets. However, not all magnets are made equal. What we want to get here are ferrite magnets. These are the typical dark gray fridge magnets.
It's actually the dominant ingredient.
Great!
And the first step is to extract them from the typical plastic crap they come with. Once I got a decent amount, the next step was to dissolve everything in some HCl. However, if I don't want it to take a literal eternity to dissolve, I have to increase its surface area. Which was not as easy as it sounds, because it turns out that these magnets are hard as fuck. Once my patience ran out, this is what I was left with. Interestingly, you would expect everything to just crumble and put dust everywhere. However, since it's made of magnets, everything sticks together and behaves more like a paste or a dough, which was weird. In the meantime, I ordered a new hot plate because my previous one suffered a catastrophic failure. Therefore, here's the world's quickest unboxing. Done. I then added some acid, cranked up the heat, and waited for everything to become darker, and darker, and darker, until everything dissolved. Following this, I boiled off most of the liquid and then added some ethanol. This is because our solution mostly contains iron chloride and strontium chloride, and while iron chloride is soluble in ethanol, strontium chloride isn't. Therefore, I proceeded to filter off everything and recover the solids. After a couple ethanol washes, I was left with a nice white powder of strontium chloride. And all that's left to do now is to take a sample for a flame test and enjoy its satisfying red color. Okay, so now it's time for some more tests and purifications. Once you add sodium bicarbonate, it forms a white insoluble precipitate of supposedly strontium carbonate, as it should. And then, after filtering, washing, and making sure to lose most of my product in the process, I was left with this. I dissolved it in a minimal amount of HCl and then let it crystallize. But still, the flame test was not red. And it is at this moment that I quite proudly found a clever solution to my problem, which is to just buy the goddamn stuff. Because when I reacted some strontium carbonate with HCl and then let it crystallize, it looks nothing like what I got. So yeah, in conclusion to this first step, the procedure technically works, just make sure you use magnets that actually contain the goddamn strontium.
It's actually the
Fortunately, the next steps are much easier. Here, for step 2, we only need some copper sulfate, which I've showed how to suboptimally make in a previous video. Add water. Done. For step 3, what we want to do is to get some copper chloride, and conveniently the starting point is also a copper sulfate solution. When adding a solution of sodium bicarbonate to it, a nice copper carbonate precipitate will form with its typical teal color. To wash it, add some excess water, let the copper carbonate settle, then remove the liquid and start over a few times. What you get is a relatively pure copper carbonate paste, and you can then dissolve it in some HCl. Upon heating it a little to remove excess water, it will take a typical green color, which is what we want. Our three solutions are now ready, and all we need to do is to add some methanol to it in order to make it flammable. Then it's only a matter of soaking pieces of charcoal with the solutions, add some methanol to kickstart the burning, turn off the lights, and enjoy the show. That's so cool. And the cool thing is that when you think it's dying down, you can just add some more ethanol and it starts over again. If you want to support this madness of a channel, you know what to do. And in the meantime, I thank you for watching and I'll see you on the next one. Bye!